As the Pacific Ocean waters get warmer and warmer each day, scientists fear that El Niño might be coming back in 2024. According to the UN's weather group, this one-of-a-kind weather event could possibly harm lives and farming in some places, and it looks like it won't back down without a fight. Join us as we discover this weather phenomenon's history and find out just what exactly El Niño has in store for us all. After 3 years of cooler weather, it seems like El Niño is here to stay, until at least mid-2024. Not only that, but considering the storm that's brewing, it just might break temperature records all around the world, too. This means if you thought 2023 was the hottest year of your life, then think again, because it just became the coldest year for the rest of your life. Due to increasing amounts of greenhouse gases being produced by humans, the Earth has been experiencing warmer temperatures for a while now. For those who are unaware of El Niño's effects, this weather phenomenon usually affects temperatures the year after it shows up. So if we're getting reports in 2023 that this weather event's about to wreak havoc on the planet, then it's definitely going to break all records for extreme weather in 2024. There was a time in history when 2016 was the hottest year because of a powerful El Niño and climate change, but this time, things are a little different. The UN says El Niño isn't the only thing affecting our climate. Even though climate change is influencing El Niño worldwide because of rising temperatures and possibly bringing about intense weather like heavier rain and fiercer storms, the World Meteorological Organization is urging governments to act swiftly to prevent loss of life. Climate scientists predict El Niño will impact global temperatures, weather patterns, and marine life, and that there should be an urgency from the government's end to safeguard the lives and livelihoods of the people. But why is El Niño such a big deal? Well, to put it simply, El Niño is a weather event that heats up the planet and makes extreme weather worse. El Niño happens because of changes in the temperature of the Pacific Ocean. Usually, winds blow warm water towards the western Pacific, near places like Indonesia and Australia, and let cooler water rise up from the deep ocean in the eastern Pacific near South America, bringing nutrients and cooler temperatures. But sometimes, these winds weaken, and the warm water piles up in the central and eastern Pacific instead of moving west. This makes the water there warmer than usual, and that's when El Niño starts, affecting the ocean and the weather all over the world. El Niño shifts warm water in the Pacific Ocean, moving the jet stream and changing weather patterns. It makes the northern U.S. drier and warmer while bringing heavy rain and floods to the U.S. Gulf Coast and southeast. In Europe, it can even lead to colder, drier winters in the north and wetter winters in the south. During El Niño, the global temperature goes up by about 0.2 degrees Celsius, getting closer to the critical 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit. Experts think there's a good chance we might hit that limit within the next 5 years because of El Niño's influence on global temperatures, and because of this, we'll see stronger heat waves, longer hot seasons, and fiercer storms. The places near the Pacific, like the west coast of the Americas, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, will feel it first. Indonesia and Australia might get hotter and drier, raising the chances of wildfires, while India's monsoons and South Africa's rains might lessen. East Africa could also get more rain and flood since El Niño also boosts hurricanes in the Pacific, putting places like Hawaii in danger of tropical cyclones. According to a report from the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization, the odd rainfall in Latin America is worrying for farming. Places like Peru, Ecuador, and Mexico might get more rain than usual in early 2024, while Brazil and Guyana will most likely face dry conditions. Not only that, but experts have also predicted that Central America's dry spell might begin by the end of 2023. The report also highlights that farming, including crops, animals, forests, and fishing, is at risk, and that during tough weather, farming can lose a lot of money. Initial reports suggest that farmers might have losses worth 26% during extreme conditions and a huge 82% during the drought season. To tackle this, the FAO is working on a plan to get money to help communities hit hard by this wild weather. But let's not forget that El Niño puts Pacific Coast sea life in danger too. Normally, upwelling brings up cold, nutrient-packed water from the deep ocean. But during El Niño, this process slows or stops. That means there are fewer tiny plants, called phytoplankton, along the coast, which means less food for some fish. Scientists have also found that global sea temperatures have hit a new high, and El Niño has made it worse. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, says there's a 56% chance that during El Niño's strongest period, eastern Pacific sea temperatures will be at least 1.5 degrees Celsius higher than usual. This warmer water can harm coral reefs, making them more likely to starve because of bleaching. The rising sea temperatures due to El Niño are already endangering the animals in the Galapagos Islands. The black marine iguanas eat algae from the water, but because of the rising temperatures, there is less algae available for them to consume, leading to starvation and eventual extinction of the species. The heavy rains are also threatening the turtles on the islands by flooding their nests, which makes it harder for them to reproduce, thus also endangering them. If El Niño gets really strong this year, NASA says cities along the western coast of the Americas might face more urban flooding too. This is because high tides can flood roads and buildings near the sea, and places like Seattle and San Diego might have up to 5 big floods in winter, which are usually rare. As we talked about earlier, in Ecuador, places like La Libertad and Baltra might get up to 3 of these big floods too, which isn't the kind of flooding that usually happens on the West Coast. By 2030, because of rising seas and climate change, these floods might happen every year, even without El Niño, and cities could face up to 10 of these floods during El Niño years. It's no secret that the intense drought conditions, amplified by the combined influences of El Niño, climate change, and heightened ocean temperatures, significantly impact regions across the Americas. In fact, even in South America, Lake Titicaca, which is among the largest lakes on the continent, has experienced a decline in its water levels. CENAMHI, which is Peru's National Meteorology and Hydrology Service, has reported that the water body has lost over 74 cm over the course of 7 months. Even evaporation rates in the region have increased due to extreme dryness and heat, as well as limited rainfall. And because of that, Lake Titicaca is at risk of reaching historically low levels. In Panama, they're facing the worst drought in 70 years. In order for the Panama Canal to work, the Gatun Lake needs to have water available to allow for ships and cargo to pass. However, because of the varying effects on climate and El Niño's untimely weather patterns, the lack of water in the lake has become a cause for concern. To prevent this, the authorities have already cut down the number of ships passing through, which has led to several shipment delays, but it turns out they might need to cut down that number again. As we know, the Panama Canal is a fast way for ships to travel between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, so these cuts will likely make it more expensive to ship things around the world. It's not just El Niño that's set to break records in 2024. The Indian Ocean dipole, which is like El Niño's younger sibling, is also in a phase that makes the east colder and the west warmer. Having both a strong positive IOD and El Niño together is not common, though. When this happens, it could create extremely dry and hot conditions, possibly causing wildfires in Southeast Asia and Australia. These patterns usually mean more rain in East Africa, which has been dealing with severe drought, but this might lead to extreme flooding there. If El Niño sticks around into 2024, it might make the Indian monsoon weaker, causing less rain, but experts say every event is different. And with climate change, it's hard to predict how severe this double trouble might be compared to the past. However, with a warmer planet, any rainfall or drought linked to these events could be much more extreme. So who knows what could happen a couple of months from now? So, what do you think? Does this mark the start of Earth's doom? Or can we expect El Niño to calm down somewhere down the line and maybe witness a cold spell in the future? Let us know what you think in the comments section down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.